I didn't say it was great video. All right, we're backstage at the Comedy Connection Wilbur Theater with Stephen Lynch on the Three Balloons tour.
Thank you very much.
So you started right out with waiting for your AIDS test today. Very bold move for the set.
Yeah, I figure, hit them over the head right away with your most insensitive material, so they know what they're in for the rest of the show. Plus, it's a good opener, I think. It opens my new album, and I've been testing it out for a couple of months on the road. So.
Any crowd?
I'm losing my voice after 2 shows. Keep singing for 4 hours.
Yeah, but that's a lot of music and a lot of show for one night.
Yeah. Tonight I felt like the Springsteen of comedy, just 4 hours of non-stop.
Are you doing any more shows like this where you're packing 2 a night, or is this?
Yeah, one in Portland, Oregon. But mercifully, all the rest of the shows on the tour are one per night.
You said that you were a little nervous about playing so much new stuff.
I basically took the old show that I've been doing for like a year now, or maybe even a little over a year, and I just threw it out the window and started from scratch. None of the little. Most of the songs I haven't done either before or in a long time, and then the introductions to the songs and the sort of banter with the audience was mostly just off the cuff, which is so frightening. This is the kind of stuff that a normal, real professional would try out in a small club in the city somewhere until he figures out what works, and then he would take it on the road to the 1,200-seat theaters. But I don't have that kind of patience. I just figure, let's just play the AIDS song and see what happens in front of this many people.
You did have like one college show or something before this, didn't you?
I actually had 2 shows, one at a college and one at a Native American casino somewhere in the swamps of Florida. But I really was still doing the old show, even though it was technically the beginning of the Three Balloons tour. I wanted to really save the good stuff for Boston.
Were you happy with the reaction?
I was thrilled, yeah. Seriously, a lot of those songs, which are on my new record, I had never played in front of anybody but my friends and my wife. Never in front of an audience, so it's frightening. It's very frightening. But yeah, I got a great response. They were really into it. So.
Well, I'd never seen anybody get an applause break for not being able to whistle, for example.
I know, that was strange. It happened actually both shows tonight. I whistle, and like halfway through the song, for some reason, my brain doesn't know how to whistle anymore. And people find that hilarious for some reason.
And were you...
my ineptitude is funny.
Were you also nervous about using the piano? I know you use that just for the
first time I've ever used it. Now that I know that I won't freeze up, and I can actually sing and play the piano at the same time, which I've also never done before. I'm going to try to add a few more piano tunes to the show. But it's more interesting, you play an hour and a half on the guitar, and it gets a little old. You mix it up with the piano, I think it'll be more interesting.
Well, it's obvious that you play piano, at least for fun. You were, ripping off a lot of songs.
Yeah. I've written a couple songs on piano, but I've never had the balls to actually try to play it on stage. So tonight was my first night. I think it went well.
Enjoyed the Journey medley.
They didn't get that in the first show. That was just a fit of inspiration. Let's play every Journey song known to man on piano. I grew up in the 80s. What am I going to do? I was taking piano lessons. That's what you learn on piano in the 80s.
And nice the bits of Freebird, which no one expects you to actually play.
Well, some asshole always asks me. So I figured, why not play it? One of these days, I'm seriously threatening to play the entire song.
I think that's how it wound up in Built to Spill set. And they had the 3 guitars to do it. They did the whole song. So I think somebody yelled it out, so they learned it, and they wound up. I guess it was a few years back. They just waited for somebody to scream it and then played the whole damn thing.
Well, now I'm pissed that they thought of it first.
You had some weird heckles in the audience today as well.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot
I
of
don't
people.
remember any of them. My mind is blank now after those two shows.
Well, there are a lot.
Remind me of what.
Well, there were people. Well, the bowling was the
Oh,
one.
you know, I get that every single time. Now it's become sports. You know, I think in the beginning somebody actually wanted to hear the song. Why, I don't know. It's the worst song I've ever recorded. I put it on that record, Superhero, as a joke. And now it's become, you know, people, I think, band together and decide who's going to say it and how many times, and they do the show, and I hear it all throughout the show. And then, you know, one time I played it. I just went, okay, and I played the song, and it got nary a laugh. It was uncomfortable, and I flopped sweat, and people were sort of looking around like, why would you play that song? Sort of like Freebird, I guess.
More fun to make fun of it than to actually play it.
It wasn't fun. Even to make fun of it. I could never do that again. It was so uncomfortable. But I find it, you know, easier now just to tell people to go fuck themselves.
And then how do you think the rest of the tour will go? Do you think you've got pretty much what you want to do?
I think I've got a good foundation. I think what I would like to do is, and what I did tonight is, there's a couple spots in the middle where I'll mix it up and play different songs every night. But for the most part, I'll keep the structure with all of it. I played 12 out of 14 tracks from the record tonight on both shows, so it's good. It's, you know, you got to mix things up and start anew and afresh and hope that people are still with you. So
do you think
it's nice any indication, and yeah, I think we'll be okay for the tour.
Do you think when people buy the record, they're going to be disappointed that most of History Lesson wasn't improvised? There were big applause breaks for you coming up.
Do you really think that? I mean,
I don't know.
We must be master actors if they really believe that we were making that shit up on stage.
Well, I've had that a couple of times where I've talked to a comedian afterwards. I said, "Oh, that was great," and they're like, "Really? You thought that was ad-libbed?" I'm like, "Oh,
yeah.
no, not at all. No, I knew. Just everyone else."
I'll tell you what always happens. It happens every show. Is you say something off the cuff and completely improv and something you've never said before, and it gets a huge laugh. And then the next night, when you get to that part of the show, you remember it, and so you say it again. And hopefully it still seems spontaneous. And then by the end of the tour, you know, 3 or 4 months later, it's like a script. It's a well-honed, well-crafted script. But if you do it right, it still sounds like you're just coming up with that stuff every night. You got to strike a balance.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you again in Boston and see how the script changes.
Try it again.
Next time.
Yeah. Got to write some new songs now. I've blown my wad with this one. All the new ones are gone. I have nothing new.
Well, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And now is where I try to figure out how to